The girl bit through her hiking backpack, carefully pulling out a thin wire hidden within. She straightened it forcefully, bent one end into a hook, and crawled onto the 90-degree vertical cliff face in a precarious and trembling position. She reached out with the wire, attempting to hook a climbing rope hanging about 6 feet away. Perched above a sheer drop, every slight movement risked disaster. Fortunately, her effort paid off. The hook caught the rope. But she didn't relax. With painstaking precision, she slowly reeled the rope in, inch by inch. Finally, she grabbed hold of it, though this was only the first step toward survival. Once she secured the rope anchored to the cliff, she began to swing her body rhythmically, using momentum to propel herself toward a protrusion on the opposite side. She succeeded, but the danger wasn't over. Staring at the endless abyss below and spotting an abandoned tent left by previous climbers above, an idea sparked in her mind. Using her climbing skills, she methodically moved closer to the suspended tent. Like a wild animal, she climbed with all her strength, finally landing on a large, protruding rock. But just then, 3 killers appeared directly above her. They began searching the cliff for the girl. While the rock concealed her for the moment, one of the men quickly calculated that she must be hiding below them. Realizing she'd been discovered, the girl gave up on climbing higher. One of the men above shouted, offering to spare her life if she handed over evidence of their crimes. To emphasize their offer, they tossed down a rope. The girl, however, wasn't naive. She knew their violent tendencies meant certain death if she surrendered her camera. After some thought, she attached a piece of white paper to the rope. Seeing movement below, the men assumed she had given in and eagerly pulled the rope back up. At the end of the rope, they found only the paper, scrawled with a mocking insult. Enraged, one of the men crumpled it up while the girl allowed herself a brief smirk. She then focused on her surroundings, preparing to secure her position for the long night ahead. She anchored a carabiner into a crevice in the rock above and used it to prop up the abandoned tent. As night fell, she fashioned a makeshift shelter and cautiously tested its stability before crawling inside. For a moment, it seemed like she might get some rest, but the killers had other plans. 2 of them lifted a 200-pound backpack and hurled it off the cliff. The impact sent the girl flying out of her tent, leaving her dangling in midair. Before she could regain her balance, the backpack filled with rocks came crashing toward her again. With no other choice, she caught it, but as the rope rapidly uncoiled, the men above saw an opportunity. They loosened the rope, trying to send her plummeting. The girl narrowly avoided their trap by grabbing a protruding rock as the backpack plunged into the abyss. Shaken but alive, she pulled herself back onto the large rock, her heart pounding. After catching her breath, she reflected on how close she'd come to death. Above, one of the men sighed in frustration, but his determined expression made it clear this wasn't over. Sure enough, later that night, a knife stabbed into her tent, jolting her awake. The blade slashed her thigh, and the killers tore through the fabric to drag her out by her hair. Intent. One man demanded the location of the camera. In the chaos, the girl's hand found a concealed weapon. She stabbed the man in the back and kicked him in the chest. As she tried to cut the rope supporting him, he grabbed her and pulled her out of the tent. In a desperate moment, she clung to his clothing to avoid falling. The other 2 killers quickly pulled their leader to safety. One of them grabbed the girl by her hair, but she retaliated by using the knife embedded in his leg to cut her own hair free. Dangling midair, the girl realized her tent wouldn't hold much longer. Just as the carabiner threatened to give way, she climbed back to the rock, narrowly escaping their second attempt on her life. The leader, furious at yet another failed plan, spiraled into madness. In a shocking turn, he struck one of his own injured men with a hammer, declaring him a burden. The dead man's body tumbled off the cliff, horrifying the girl below. As if the nightmare couldn't get worse, the last surviving henchman discovered the betrayal and confronted the leader. A brutal fight broke out, ending with the leader smashing his opponent's head against the rocks and setting him ablaze. The flaming body was kicked into the abyss as the leader yelled threats toward the girl below. Now alone, the leader secured a rope and descended to face the girl personally. He promised to spare her if she handed over the evidence. Knowing his true nature, the girl refused. When the leader attacked, the girl defended herself with every ounce of strength. Feigning vulnerability, she waited for him to let his guard down. Then, with a powerful kick, she sent him reeling. Seizing her moment, she drew her knife and slashed the rope supporting him.
Help me! Help me!
Ignoring his pleas for mercy, she coldly watched him fall into the abyss. As the sun rose, the girl, battered but alive, used her climbing expertise to ascend the majestic peak, having conquered both the mountain and the horror she faced.